Good evening, everybody. It is February 15th, 2022, and today we are going to be talking about the interest rate environment. Obviously, the 30-year fixed rate mortgage is now over 4%. So do we think that's going to have a big impact on the housing market? We'll talk about that tonight and more. The U.S. 10-year Treasury yield is now sitting solidly above that 2% yield. And we actually had a pretty nice rally on Wall Street today with the S&P 500, Dow Jones Industrial Average, and the NASDAQ all positive for the day. However, we have had some notable earnings reports that haven't gone favorably. The reaction to earnings have not been positive. Zoom Info reported after the bell today. I think the stock is down close to 13%, even after beating and raising expectations. So we'll talk about that as well. Hey, Jonathan Richards, good to see you. Hope you're well. I see Chris says, howdy, Tom. Good to hear you. What's up, Chris? So it's a very, very windy night here in downtown Miami. We're only going to be on for about 1 hour tonight, so just please bear with us as we deal with the wind. So let's put my backpack away, and then we will head out. I see Al Baker says hello. Shauno says hello from Detroit. Dante Rose is here. Welcome, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Hope everybody's week is going well so far. Ken Kramer says, hey. What's up, Ken? So, Ken Kramer, have you seen the 30-year mortgage rate now? For a 30-year fixed rate is now above 4%. And there was a lot of talking heads on CNBC today coming out and saying that this is going to cause significant declines in the housing market, more specifically the single-family housing market. But I'm not so sure. I mean, just in the markets that I'm most familiar with here in Miami as well as Long Island, New York, it still seems demand is rather high for housing. It's crazy for everybody. It is probably a good 30-mile-an-hour winds. And I don't have a mic, so I apologize. Hey, Photos from Around New York is here. Vinny Castellano, good evening. NMB 045. Carolina Tom says, hey, Tom, stay safe. Buy the book. Good to see you. Sue Lane says, hey, Tom, hope you're enjoying yourself. What's up, Sue? So we'll try to walk around for about an hour tonight. The wind is rather crazy, so I think we're going to have a lot of wind noise in the mic. We're supposed to get a pretty decent-sized storm coming in tomorrow, so just keep that in mind. Hey, NNB 045, good to see you. 48 is here. What's up, 48? Joining us from New Zealand. Hope you're having a good one, 48. Alan Wilson says, good evening, everybody. Hey, Alan. Good to see you. Judy D. Good to see you, Judy. Lori E is here. Yeah, Humane says you weren't kidding about the wind. The wind is... It was crazy all day today here in Miami with the wind. Really, really crazy stuff. Hey, Sabrina Fair. Good evening. Sabrina Fair says, hey, Tommy, nice to see you. Al Baker says, it's been windy all day here in South Florida. Like the refreshing weather. Good to see you, Al. Hey, War Walker says, hold on to your hat, Tomcat. Good to see you, War Walker. Hope you're well. Chris Hansen is here. Al Baker, Sabrina Fair. Cheryl says, where are you? We are in downtown Miami tonight. We are going to be walking around for about an hour, and we're actually outside of the Metro Mover station overlooking the Paramount building. Hope everybody's having a good start to the week. I see Ruby Falcone. Good to see you, Ruby. Judy D. Hey, Ron 2000. This is Miss Long Island. Good to see you, Ron. Hey, Francine says, hello, Tom. Good to see everybody. Ken Kramer says, demand is still extremely high in the real estate market. Yeah, Ken Kramer, I think you're right. So I was watching a little bit of CNBC today, and very story today was that the 30-year fixed rate mortgage is now above 4%. But even historically speaking, I mean, a 4% interest rate on a 30-year fixed rate mortgage is extremely, extremely cheap. I mean, that is really, really cheap money. I think I got my mortgage right at around 3%. And this economist was coming on CNBC today, and he was talking about how there's going to be a massive collapse prices of real estate, more specifically single-family homes. And I'm not so sure about that because any market you look at across the United States right now, and if you look at the home prices that range from, let's say, $350,000 to right around $600,000, you know, any good neighborhood, any good decent piece of property that is within that price range, it is automatically scooped up off the market. So the demand seems to still be there. Hey, Judy D, this is Tom. Do you think the stock market is emotional at times? I do think it is emotional at times. So this is a 1000 Museum right here. Very famous building here. Hey, Bernard Friedman is here. Colin Watt, good to see you. Ken Kramer says, yep, we get used to cheap money. 4% is low. Sunshine after rain, good to see you on this insanely windy night in Miami. Hey, Tortellini is here. FredX says, good evening, Tom and Walkers. Good evening. Hey, Allie's here. What's up, Allie? Hope you're well. Obama is here. Good evening, Obama. Al Baker says 4% is still a great deal. Yeah, I mean, we've definitely been spoiled with these artificially low interest rates. Wolverine is here, says, hey, what's up? What's up, Wolverine? Poon Adams says, hello, everybody. Good to see you. Matthew P is here. Good to see you, Matthew P. Grant, it's so windy. Get behind a glass window. Yeah, the wind is not to be believed down here. The wind gets cranking in Florida. DJ is here, good to see you. Western Mass Dave says, hey Tom, hope your week is going well. Likewise, Western Mass Dave, I hope you're well. So everybody, I did send out the Behind the Street newsletter yesterday. So please check your email for the Behind the Street newsletter, which is the financial newsletter I send out to everybody once a week. And if you haven't signed up yet, if you type !news, N-E-W-S, in the chat, the Nightbot will drop the link to the Behind the Street newsletter. Hey, Gregory's here, says, got it, thanks. Awesome, Gregory. I'll give you guys one more look at the, I believe this is the Paramount building. Hey, Gigi NYC says, good evening, Tom and everybody. What's up, Gigi? I hope you're well. Hey, John Lee says, hey, Tom, did you see Corsair Gaming got moved into the S&P 600 small caps? I did not see that. I did not see that, John. But good to see you, John Lee. Ruby Falcone says, good evening, friend. Western Mass Dave. Good evening, everybody. Judy D says, beautiful view of that building. Good to see you, Judy D. Hey, Henry's here. Says, hey, big guy from old Naples, Florida. Naples, Florida is a beautiful, beautiful place. A lot of hedge funders have residences in Naples, Florida. So I want to know from your guys' perspective, you know, in your markets, wherever your local housing market is, are you still seeing really, really crazy demand? Because I know a lot of the times, or most of the times on the channel, we talk about mainly equities, but I think the housing market is a major, major piece to the overall health of the U.S. economy. Okay, Chris Beeman is saying, yep, crazy demand. Al Baker says, Tom, Hollywood, Florida is still booming. Yeah, the wind is supposed to be 30 miles an hour tonight. And we did not bring the mic, unfortunately. Hey, Triple Jesus, sounds like some serious wind. Yeah, it's supposed to be 30 miles an hour tonight. Hey James, the suburbs of Kansas is crazy. Dutchman says, yes Tom, there is crazy high housing market here in Phoenix, Arizona. Let's see if we can walk this way to get out of the wind a little bit. Falcon Space says, love the wind, makes me feel young again. Oh my gosh, guys, this is crazy. Hey, Wolverines, is a storm coming through? Yeah, there is. So tomorrow's supposed to be pretty much raining all day. And I think I saw it's supposed to rain about 2 inches an hour, which is going to be insane to see. Hey, Michael is here, says, what is happening? SGT says, is all fiat money a Ponzi scheme? Well, technically, yeah. I think technically. Michael, good to see you. We are right outside of the FTX arena. Hey, Rent1018 says, holy smokes. Yeah, the wind is wild tonight. So I'm seeing a lot of people in the stream talking about the Phoenix, Arizona real estate market and how demand seems pretty... Hey, Zach says, long crypto. What's up, Zach? Good to see you. Latha's like, whoa, Tom, hope you're wearing your snowboarding goggles to protect your eyes from the wind. Yeah, we're getting pelted by the wind tonight. Hey, Bob says, hi, Tom. High pressure off the East Coast is pushing jet streams over north of Florida. Yeah, Henry's like, last week he took us through the Manhattan snow, now the wind's in Miami. Hey, Vinny Castellanos is still feeling sick about the Super Bowl. What's up, Vinny? Hey, Zach says, what's up? I'm a fellow New Yorker. Stay safe in Florida. Appreciate that. SCG says, from your answer on fiat, gold and real estate look better. So you know, that's one thing I wanted to mention on tonight's stream. If you type in the ticker symbol GLD, and I'm not a big gold guy, but it's very, very hard to ignore. You know, just take a look at gold on a monthly chart, and gold is arguably the best looking chart I've ever seen in my life. So if we make a new record high in gold, I'm gonna have to buy something because it's just too massive of a base. You know, gold has been basing now for years, over 10 years. Yeah, Margaret. So Margaret says, my realtor tells me there is no inventory here. Yeah, I mean, that's been the major driver of housing prices, right? Is the demand is so high. And due to COVID, nobody really wants to move, so the inventories are so low, right? So that's a good point. You know, and even at rates at 4%, I mean, at least in my markets that I'm familiar with in Long Island, New York, and Miami, it seems like the vast majority of people who are buying houses are actually putting down pretty good sizable down payments. So I'm not sure a 4% interest rate is really going to rock the housing market too much. But it's a good point you make. Hey, Shot by Scott is here. What's up, Scott? Good to see you. Al Baker says, do you buy the gold or do you buy the stock? I don't own any gold as of now. But, I mean, if we make a new record high in gold, I'm going to have to buy something because... Just check it out. Check it out. If you type into Google or if you go to tradingview.com, if you type in GLD, ticker symbol GLD, and go to a monthly time frame, you'll see what I'm talking about. I mean, that is just the most massive base pattern I've ever seen. Hey, Diamond Dave is here. Says you're better off buying land in the metaverse in renting a home. This is Diamond Dave. Good to see you, Diamond Dave. Hey, Sunshine After Rain says hope everybody had a wonderful Valentine's Day. Likewise, Sunshine. Hope you had a wonderful Valentine's Day too. Hey, Soho guy says, yo, Tom, you still doing the sales as a service? Sales as a service. Interesting. Good to see you, Soho. I'll give you guys another look at the Paramount building. Jonathan Francis here. What's up, Jonathan? Good to see you. Judy D says, does the housing market have a big influence on other things? Yeah, I would say so. I would say absolutely. You know, and I was also looking across Bloomberg today. And the fund managers or major money managers on Wall Street now have the lowest allocation to tech stocks that they've ever had since 2006. And so we've seen this massive rotation out of tech stocks into more cyclical value names, such as, you know, Church and Dwight, a lot of the oil and gas stocks. So I think during the latter part of the year, the second half of the year, I think we're going to start to see a lot of rotation back into tech stocks. And I was going to program it into the Nightbot to show you the chart that I was talking about that actually showcases fund flows out of mega cap tech and tech stocks and into more value names. But if you look on my Twitter, and the link in the description, I believe I posted a link to my Twitter. If you check that out, I believe I retweeted the chart. Hey, Alan Wilson says, Tom, do you think Tom, what do you think of Canada taking control of all cryptocurrencies in Canada? So I was reading into that a little bit. I still think there's a lot of misinformation spiraling out around the situation that's going on in Canada. Supposedly, you know, they enacted a policy where they're allowed to freeze assets in bank accounts due to terrorist activity and things like that, which I don't agree with. But I still think there needs to be some clarity on those particular policies because there's a lot of craziness floating around online right now. Hey, Mike Bell says, Tom, refinancing drying up and sales are down in Central Ohio. Very low inventory, says Mike Bell. So Mike says refinancing is drying up and sales are down in Central Ohio with very low inventory. Okay, interesting. So it seems like some things are slowing down. Thank you for that, Mike. Shot by Scott says, Tom, there's officially nothing under $1 million on the beach in Sunny Isles. Oh my God. Used to be a healthy market in the 600,000s and 800,000s. Things are getting nutty. Yeah, Scott, that is crazy. So, Scott, you're probably familiar with Normandy Shores and Normandy Isles. You know, back in 2015, I was looking at houses in Normandy Shores for roughly $550,000. And now all of those homes are over $1 million. As crazy as that sounds. Hey, Triple G, says Tom, we are printing money without gold backing. In essence, it's very fiat. Like, would you agree? I would agree. I would agree with that. Henry says a very bad rap on Bitcoin in Canada today. Yeah, so any for our Canadian viewers, so what is the exact policy, right? Because I've been seeing a ton of stuff flying around online. Obviously, due to the truckers' protest and, you know, the opposition of Trudeau, there's a lot of tempers flaring here. So I think when you have two very polarizing sides, I think you can have a lot of fake news come out right at first. So I don't really want to make a comment on it. I think freezing assets is totally unacceptable, but I'm just not sure of the entire story to give an educated rebuttal to that, if that makes sense. But for anybody in Canada, you know, please definitely chime in the group and let us know what's going on. Alan Wilson says, Tom, the crypto is related to their emergency powers, but is separate. Check Tucker Carlson's A block tonight. I'm going to have to check it out. I think I'm not too happy with Trudeau, to be totally frank. But I'm just not too well-versed in Canadian politics to give it a firm, let's just say firm decision. But the overall precipice of freedom to choose and not to lose your job, I do agree with that. But in terms of the freezing of assets, I haven't really looked into that as much as I should have. Hey, Brian says, hey, Tom, what are your thoughts on the Treasury Department decided to give crypto miners and digital currency wallet service companies exemption because they are introducing new crypto regulation? Well, I think it's good. And we've been talking about this for quite some time on the stream. If we ever really want to see real institutional money managers get into and get exposure to cryptocurrencies, you're going to need more regulatory clarity, right? So, for example, as of right now in the United States, there has not been a single true Bitcoin ETF approved. Now, there is a futures-based Bitcoin ETF, which is like a double derivative product, which is a derivative of a derivative, but there is no spot Bitcoin ETF approved. And I think if you're going to actually see like sovereign wealth funds, pension funds get into having exposure to Ethereum or Bitcoin or something like that, you're going to need true, concise regulatory clarity around that. I think we're getting there. I just don't think we're there yet. Hey, Carolina Thompson, Tom, I think we are a year away from housing weakness. Yeah, I mean, look, I would hope housing prices would come down 20%, because for the average American, nobody could afford to buy a house. And in this week's Behind the Street newsletter, I briefly touched on the housing market, and there was 411,000 houses this year or in 2021 that were sold that were out of price range for people making $75,000 to $100,000 a year, which is the vast majority of Americans. So that means home ownership is pretty much out of reach for everyday working class, middle class people in America. So if you want to read about that in the Behind the Street newsletter, I did send it out to everybody yesterday, I believe. And if you want to sign up for the Behind the Street newsletter, it's the first link in the description. Yeah, Obama says you will own nothing and be happy. Jonathan France says that's why the rental market is on fire as well. Yeah, Jonathan, the New York City rental market as well as the Miami rental market is ripping faces off. Rich says, Tom, low inventory plus boomers not moving to high density housing. Yeah, so Rich, I think you make a great point, right? And I was talking about this with one of my good buddies, and he was saying, look, Tom, I could sell my house on Long Island and make $250,000 on paper, right? But he's like, why would I sell my house when I would just have to find somewhere else to live, and I don't want to move during a global pandemic? And I think a lot of people are starting to think the same way, right? Even though your housing price has gone up significantly, even if you sell, now you have to go right back into the market and try to compete for houses just like everybody else. So I think that's why a lot of people are not even bothering putting their homes on the market. Ruby Falco. Chris says Phoenix is face ripping too. Carolina Tom says labor regulations and materials are way too expensive for existing houses to come down in value. Yeah, so Carolina Tom, what do you think that means for home builders? I'm curious to see your thoughts on that, because we're supposed to be getting major housing data this week. So we're going to be hearing from a lot of the home builders in terms of their sentiment, right? And out of all of the home builders that were surveyed, their number one concern is the increased cost of commodities prices. So you can think about lumber prices and copper prices. They said that is their number one concern this year in relation to affordability for the average middle-class person buying a house. Obama says sell one of your rental properties. Well, I only have one. Hey, Brian says one of my former neighbors is selling his house. Sabrina Ferris says a friend is now in escrow for a Florida home, overpaid, but what can she do? So where is that, Sabrina, and what did she pay, if you don't mind us asking? Bob says Orlando used to be quote-unquote affordable. Now a one bedroom for rent is $1,100. Yeah, so Bob, it's funny that you mentioned that, because to me, $1,100, I'm like, wow, what a steal. But then again, I'm from New York City, where everything is egregiously priced. Roland YT, good to see you. Obama says Eric Adams fired 1,430 workers in New York City. Diamond Dave says federal government can't get into anybody's bank account, take your money. At any time, a person with a crypto wallet, you can't get into that without the seed passwords. Agreed. NYC 999 says system financial collapse coming, World War III, wake up. Good to see you, NYC 999. Falcon Space, good to see you. Hey, I see Dana says Bitcoin is not politics. Agreed. I think I got all the comments. Sorry, they were going pretty fast. Hey, Otto is here. What's up, Otto? Razzle Dazzle 786. What's going on? So Razzle Dazzle should be in New York pretty soon, I think. Photos from around New York says, so what can be done about the housing issue, if anything? Well, I think it has to do with a lot of politics, zoning regulations and things like that. That's why we're seeing such a crazy shortage of homes in California, because it's very, very difficult to get a permit to build in California. Hey, Charlie Richardson is here. Hey, Charlie. Good to see you, Charlie Richardson. Dutchman says, with housing and rental prices going sky high, more people will be homeless in the coming years. Yeah, I mean, it's really, really unfortunate, Dutchman, but I think, I don't want to say you're right, but I think you're right. Hey, British Grace, Tom, how was the Dow Jones today? I mean, all the major indices finished higher. But the only thing that's concerning me is that a lot of companies that are reporting earnings and reporting better than expected earnings are actually having quite negative reactions. So Zoom Info, ticker symbol ZI, CEO is Henry Schuck. They reported a great quarter, beat and raise, slight deceleration and slight contraction on their margins, but a good quarter nonetheless. Stocks down 13%. Hemp Lords has just came from the gym. Tom, hello. Hey, Hemp Lord, good to see you. Hope you had a good time at the gym. Sabrina Fair says, Tom, she bought in Cocoa Beach, overpaid about $300,000, or she bought it for $350,000. Hey, Ron is here, says, hey, Tom, thank you for Behind the Street newsletter issue number 14. Well, thank you for reading. I appreciate it. Horatio Snipes, good afternoon. So we are here at Bayside. Hey, Steve G says, what's up, Tom, from Arizona? Hey, Steve. Good to see you, Steve. Henry says, what's happening to crypto in Canada? Is a wake-up call? Yeah, I'm not sure. I got to read into it more because I know it's a very sensitive subject, and I don't want to make a comment on it if I'm not educated on it. The only thing that I heard is that Trudeau and his administration will be freezing or potentially freezing assets in people's bank accounts if they are funding, I guess, protests for the truckers. But then again, I haven't really had a lot of time to look into it, but that's all I know of it right now. Ken Glass, good to see you. Ren 1018 says, when Phoenix real estate market gets red hot, the housing bubble pop is 1 or 2 away. Yeah, so, Ren 10, you actually do make a good point. So if you look at the markets that really took off during 2007, 2008, they were actually Phoenix, Miami, because when times are good, people want to buy second and third properties in states with really nice warm weather. But I mean, the only real difference that I'm seeing right now in comparison to 2008 is that the underwriting on a lot of these mortgages are significantly better than they were in 2008. So if you think about, people who were qualifying for a home mortgage back in 2007 or 2005 to 2007, it was people that probably shouldn't be getting a mortgage, right? But now the underwriting is super tight. Just to give you an example, I had a really hard time getting a mortgage, and I put 25% down on my property, and I have a good income and a near phenomenal credit score, and I still had a really difficult time getting a loan. So that's the only thing that is, let's just say, encouraging in this housing market, is that I think the default risk is perhaps, I would argue, probably cut in half since 2008. But what do you guys think? Hey, Jerry's here. Good to see you. Tom is here. Good to see you, Tom. James Dixon says they are 1,000 times better. Good to see you, James. Faux Roberts says, Tom, Toyota Tundra or Nissan Titan? I'm going to say Nissan Titan just because I like Nissan a little bit better. George, good to see you. Falcon Space says, bought my home under $200,000, but it's not in the best town, unfortunately. Hey, Dwayne is here, says, I'd like to go to Miami in the future. Good to see you, Dwayne. Henry says, crypto is not insured. I think that's the point. I think that is the point. If you are going to take the risk to buy Bitcoin, I think you need to assume ownership of your private keys. Dwayne says, getting a mortgage is stricter because they don't want defaults. I agree with that. Triple G says, Tom, Con Ed raised electric rates from 6 cents per kilowatt hour to 20 cents per kilowatt hour, all in January of this year. Yeah, so I actually have a couple friends who work in the power industry, and I understand that everybody wants to change to renewables as fast as possible. But with all these rules and regulations, we're actually burning more coal now in the United States than over the last 5 years combined. And that's because, you know what, I actually may include a write-up on that in next week's Behind the Street newsletter, because I think that's something pretty important to talk about. Hey, Jonathan Francis, if you don't have existing properties, it's much harder to get mortgages. Is that true, Jonathan? I didn't know that. So here, I think the main reason why it was very difficult for me to get a mortgage was because I had very, very limited credit history, because I don't really take on much debt. You know, I only have one credit card that I never really use. So it was very difficult for me to qualify. And that was with putting 25% down. David says, did you hear about the Canadian government permitting banks to freeze clients' assets? Yeah, so we were just talking about that a little bit, David. It does seem crazy. I definitely don't agree with that at all. Definitely don't agree with that at all. Yeah, Falcon Space, the same here. I rarely use credit. Lori E says, our town made a deal with our electric company and locked in our electric rates at very low rate, but our national gas bill, or our natural gas bill, was much higher this month. Yeah, Lori E, which is crazy, because the U.S. is almost the #1 producer of liquefied natural gas. Hey, James Tiger says, if climate change continues, all of Miami Beach, Florida will be underwater by 2050, essentially making all the properties worthless, and mortgages are usually 30-year contracts. Could this happen? James, I think that's fake news. Just to be totally blunt with you, I think all of that is fake news. But I respect anybody's opinion who thinks that. And to answer your question, could that happen? Yeah, anything could happen. But here's what I'm gonna say. You know, banks are in the business of making money, and I don't think a bank would do a deal if they knew that all of the properties or their assets were gonna be underwater in 50 years. But look, I mean, I respect all sides and all opinions, but I think that's the biggest fake fraud news I've ever heard in my life. And I'm not a climate change denier. I believe in climate change. But to say that all of Miami Beach and all of New York City is going to be underwater in 50 years, I mean, I think everybody's taken, like, the way I think about it is, look, if you've taken a statistics 101 class in college, like, think about what is the probability of being able to predict something like that. This Earth has been around for billions and billions of years. And you think that you could predict that New York City and Florida is going to be underwater in 50 years? You probably have a better chance of winning the lottery every single day for the rest of your life. But we'll see. I guess time will tell. Al Baker says, if you look at the building on Collins Avenue, you would say that statement false. Interesting. Bob says they can predict comets, so why not rising sea levels? Yeah, I do agree with rising sea levels, but to say that in 50 years, everything, like I've been hearing, you know, Lower Manhattan is going to be totally underwater in 50 years. Miami is going to be totally underwater 50 years. San Francisco. These are all desirable places to live, right? And civilizations were built on ports of entry or waterways for thousands of years. right? So I think people are going to continue to want to live in New York City. People are going to continue to want to live in Miami. People are going to continue to want to live in San Francisco, regardless of rising sea levels. And so I think the last statement I'll make is, even if that's true, let's assume that is true, right? So everybody in the chat, let's just assume that it is 100% fact that Miami and New York City will all be underwater in 50 years. Let's just assume that that is 100% factual. I still believe that entrepreneurs and the smartest people in this world will be able to figure it out and find a solution within the 50 years. That's my bet. I think we'll find ways to innovate, ways that we wouldn't even be able to think about, where we will be able to overcome and adapt to that change. That's just my view. But look, I could be wrong, and if I'm wrong, I guess I'll move to the mountains in somewhere in Arizona. Western Mass Dave says, by then, hopefully we will have such the infrastructure to combat the problems. Hey, Out and About is here. Good to see you, Out and About. Hey, Q-Biz. Good to see you. Q-Biz says the day Miami goes underwater is when none of us on this chat will be around anyway. Well, there is sunny day flooding in downtown Miami. So it'll be a completely sunny day, zero rain at all, and you'll just have a ton of water coming up through the grating in the city. Hey, Out and About. Good to see you, Out and About. Hope you're well. Sabrina Fair, oh my God. Hey, Dean says, Tom, I would rather live in Tennessee mountains. People are very friendly. I actually did go to Tennessee when I used to work. I used to work for AT&T back in the day, and I had a meeting in the main AT&T building that got canceled right when I landed. So I spent my time walking around Vanderbilt University. Lather says, king tides cause flooding on extremely high tide days, but that is on both coasts. Yeah, Lather, I think that's been going on forever as well, and I think that is a big concern, right? So for me, that was a major concern, and I took that into account when moving here, and that's why I did not buy a house in a flood zone. So the property that I bought is in flood zone X, which pretty much has a 0% chance of flooding ever. I think my block where I am in Miami has never flooded ever, because we are actually a little bit above sea level, surprisingly. Hey, Beta Mario is here. Good to see you, Beta Mario. Henry, good to see you. Sabrina Fair says the vibe in Miami is very nice. Good to see you, Sabrina Fair. Wolverine says, I'm from Tennessee. Good to see you, Wolverine. NE says, people just like to hate on Florida. As someone who lived in Connecticut for 19 years, the weather was a lot worse there than here in Tampa Bay, Florida. Yeah, I mean, so I know that there's a very big, I wouldn't say rivalry, but usually people who are from New York, well, let's just call it like it is. People who are from Democratic states will hate on Florida, and people from Republican states will hate on places like New York. And which I understand that, but, I'm from New York, and I like both places, right? I enjoy both places, and, if I'm only going to be on this earth for, let's say, 60 more years, I'm going to spend my time in the places that I like. And that just so happens to be New York City and Miami, Florida. That's sort of the way I think about it. So look, if New York City goes underwater in 50 years and so does Miami, well, at least I had a good time enjoying it while it was above ground. Hey, Eyeglass Lady is here. Says, I am not one to worry about something like this. I will be gone before 50 years. Good evening. What's up, Eyeglass Lady? Hope you're well. Good to see you. Al Baker says, Florida is a great tax shelter. Why pay for them taxes in New York, says Al. Diamond Dave says, what's happened later tonight? That's what I want to know. Full throttle, out of control. Talk to me, Tom. Western Mass Dave says, seems quiet in Miami tonight. You know, my personality, I actually like it quiet. I'm not a big party person. But Shot by Scott could attest to this. Sunny Isles Beach is rather nice, rather quiet. Photos from around New York's like Venice will be underwater. I think that is extremely underwater. 481 says, Tom, do you shoot in 4K? So we only shoot in 4K on our standalone videos, but unfortunately we only stream in 1080p. Hey, Ibada's here. Hey, Ibada, good to see you. Says, hey, Tom, hope you had a great Valentine's Day. Mine crushed my bank account per usual. Oh, Ibada, jeez. What is your opinion on everything going on in Russia? Well, Ibada, what's going on? Ibada. So to answer your question, I think a lot of the stuff that's going on in Russia is total fake news. I think it, look, if you listen to what Ukraine is saying, they're like, I have no idea what anybody is talking about. There's no war. Everything is fine. If you look at Russia, they're like, dudes, there's no war. Chill out. But every time you hear the United States, we're like, nope, there's war. It's going to happen at 1 o'clock in the morning. Yep, war. So it seems like the United States war machine is firing on all cylinders. And everybody else in the world seems to be like, dude, what are you talking about? There's no war. You know, I think I saw a tweet 2 days ago that says, oh, the Defense Department or something like that from the White House saying that Russia is going to invade Ukraine at 1 o'clock in the morning. Like what? Like, what does that even mean? Like, has anybody, I mean, if Russia was really going to invade Ukraine, do you think Putin would say, hey, Biden, you know, we're going to start plowing the tanks through the front gates at 1 a.m., just to let you know. Like, it's total fake news. I don't believe it. But I will say this. If Russia doesn't invade Ukraine, I think that is going to be the biggest buying opportunity in U.S. equities of a lifetime, in my opinion. I think it's going to be the biggest buying opportunity ever. Hey, 1-to-1 says, I meant, how does someone know when war will begin on a specific day? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think it's either a cover-up for an arms deal. I think the United States is selling weapons to Russia or something like that. So there's like a covert arms deal. But I'd probably say a 0% chance of Russia invading Ukraine. I mean, like, nobody wants war. But look, I could be wrong. I'm not an expert on foreign policy. Mickey Handel says, Tom, the media in this country is a joke. Hey, Cosmo Scary is here. Good to see you. Rich says, Tom, it's smoke and mirrors. Edson says, hey, what's up, Tom? Diamond Dave, good to see you. Bob says, Putin just likes to flex his muscles. Yeah, I mean, that's just my view, and I'm not an expert on foreign policy at all. EBITDA says, which equities do you think will be the best when that happens? So here's what I think. So does anybody remember the Gulf War? I mean, I certainly don't. I wasn't alive. But go back to the S&P 500. Right when that started, we had a massive follow-through day. I think the S&P was up almost 4% on the day, and everybody was so afraid about, oh, we're going to war, there's going to be a war. That's when markets bottoms. That's when markets bottom, I should say. So I may do a second update to the Behind the Street newsletter and send it out Thursday, showing you guys exactly what I mean. But I think the market could turn around on a dime if Russia invades Ukraine. But I really don't think that'll happen. I really, really don't think that'll happen at all, nor do I want it to happen. I don't think anybody that has any morals wants a war, right? But we'll see. We'll just have to see. Roberta says they put tank missiles on the border of Ukraine. It's a big joke. Michael K, this is an absolute lie. Russia has not invaded anywhere. Agreed. Tim says too many news outlets report without verifying. AA says Russia needs to take back their land, period. Checkers X says oil fell after Russia said some troops are starting to return to their permanent bases. Asia Unscripted says good evening, good to see you. 481 says nobody wants to go to war. Yeah, I'm still in the camp that there's going to be no invasion. I think, and look, the Russian government even said we have absolutely zero intention of invading Ukraine. It's only the United States who's saying this. Even the Ukraine is like, yeah, there's going to be like a 0% chance of any sort of war. So, Western Mass Dave says Putin is making money off this, higher oil prices. Perhaps. It is a windy day here in Miami. Somebody says, what is the weather like? It is windy. Crazy, crazy windy tonight. OF says Ukraine is not democratic enough for the EU or socialist enough for Russia. Trey Bucks says, what's up? Hey, what's up, Trey Bucks? Good to see you. Michael K says, I hope and believe that there are adequate people in the United States and they do not believe in these political stuffing. We ordinary people should and will be friends with each other no matter what. Yeah, Michael K, I agree with you. I think that the vast majority of people in the United States do not believe the fake news, mainstream media, and political narrative that we're all enemies of each other. So I agree with you. Lady says I should visit Miami. Been to Florida many times, but never Miami. Yeah, you gotta come to Miami. Hey, Salim's here. Hey, Salim Muhammad. Long time no see. Good to see you, Salim. Says, what's the temperature there? I believe it's about 67 degrees and very, very windy. But good to see you, Salim. Yeah, Latha's like the wind is so loud, almost sounds like the skateboard. So this is the Metro Mover right here. So if you guys are enjoying the stream tonight, feel free to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you are new. And also check your emails. I did send out the Behind the Street newsletter, where we covered many, many topics. And if you want to sign up, it is the first link in the description of this video. Somebody says, where can you take the Metro Mover? I think this goes all the way to Brickell, which is the financial district. Hey, Bernard Friedman. Thank you for joining, Bernard. It's always good to see you. Thank you for joining, and I hope you have a great rest of your week. Tom says, I need a clean, well-lit place. Hey, Alexander says, great newsletter, Tom. Read it twice today. Thank you. Hey, Alexander. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Hey, Farius here says, hi from Miami. Welcome, everybody from Miami. Spontaneous says, Miami is so quiet compared to New York City. Yeah, I guess depending on where you are, right? Because oftentimes when we stream in New York, we stream from Midtown Manhattan, where there's a ton of people. But you know, I used to work in Lower Manhattan on Wall Street, where there's very, very few people outside. So I guess it just really depends on where you are, what the location is. Beto Mario says, Tom, have you ever been to Germany? I have not. Celine Mohammed says, I love what you're doing, bro. Bringing Miami to us. No problem, Celine. Good to see you. Hey, Marilyn is here. It says, hello, watching this and the Olympics. Very cool. Good to see you, Marilyn. Thank you for watching. Hey, Vinny Cast. Tonight, Vinny. NG, good to see you. Hey, Marciano, good to see you. Dr. Ray 0512 says, good evening, Tom. OF says, Datadog, what's the function? What are they doing that's special besides the earnings and returns? So it's fun. Datadog, I was actually applying Enterprise Account Executive at Datadog, and I believe they actually have a new office. I want to say in the Hudson Yards. No, it's not in the Hudson Yards. I'm blanking on where their office is in Manhattan. Is it? No. Qualtrics. So there's another software company called Qualtrics. They are in the new Hudson Yards building, which I think Qualtrics actually just came off the back of another phenomenal earnings report too. Maryland says mask mandates have been lifted in New York State. Juan Carlos says, great stream, love Miami, hope to be back soon. Good to see you, Juan. Sabrina Fair says, we use Qualtrics. Yeah, one of my good buddies, Trent, he also Yeah, Layla, Datadog is in the New York Times building. You're right. You're right. Yeah, I was getting Datadog confused with Qualtrics, but Qualtrics has a beautiful. I was in there to stream. Al Baker says, who has the best cloud software? Well, I guess it depends on what software, like what cloud software are you referring to? Anything specifically? Chris says, hey Tom. On was that? I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure. Al Baker's is CrowdStrike versus Microsoft. Well, I mean, CrowdStrike is a cybersecurity company, right? And even though Microsoft does have cybersecurity products, and I think they've acquired cybersecurity companies, if you're looking for a pure play like MDM or cybersecurity product, then I would go with CrowdStrike. But I think Microsoft is starting to bundle cybersecurity products into their Teams package. So we're gonna have to keep an eye on that. But as a pure play cybersecurity product, CrowdStrike hands down, because it's specifically built for and made for the cloud. I think their biggest competitor is Zscaler, ticker symbol ZS. Sorry, but I'm having a hard time reading the comments. My screen is out of whack here. Hey, Andrew Lee is here from New York City. What's up, Andrew? Hope you're well. So tonight, the topic for tonight's stream was interest rates. The 30-year mortgage is now 4%. I really don't think it'll have that big of an impact on the housing market, to be totally honest. Because a 4% rate is still relatively low, historically speaking. Could avoid the wind this way. OF's hurricane. Somebody said Lending Tree was advertising a 2% rate. There's no way. I think that's impossible. of like a 20-year car loan. Yeah, we don't have the mic tonight, unfortunately. We're just gonna power through. We're gonna go around the block and power through. Lady Sinatra says, hold on to your hat. Oh, everybody, we've already been streaming for an hour. I did say I cannot stream for the full 2.5 like we usually do. Hey, Kevin, good to see you, Kevin. But I briefly wrote about this week in the Behind the Street newsletter that there was now 411,000 homes in 2021 that were sold that were out of reach for people making $75,000 to $100,000 a year. So the vast majority of homes now that are on the market are way, way out of reach for the average person to afford them, which is really concerning. And I think this is due to artificially low interest rates and increased demand due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And here in Miami and New York City, parts of Long Island, New Jersey. Hey, JMTS Productions, good to see you, my friend. Always good to see you. Chris says, run. Layda, hope you're well. But everybody, unfortunately, I do apologize. I gotta cut the stream short tonight. I actually have to prepare some documentation for a big meeting I have tomorrow. It's been a busy week, and I think it's going to continue to be a busy week, but we will be streaming tomorrow, although it is supposed to be a massive rainstorm. It's supposed to rain about 2 inches an hour starting tomorrow. So let's just keep everything tentative, and maybe if it's really, really rainy, I'll go live, and it'll just be a behind the desk stream where we'll sort of hang out. So if you guys enjoyed the video today or the live stream, feel free to leave a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. We go live about 5 days a week between New York City and Miami. And if you haven't already signed up for the Behind the Street newsletter, a free financial newsletter written by myself, if you type !news, N-E-W-S, in the chat, the Nightbot will drop the link where you can punch in your email and sign up. Sabrina Fair, thank you for joining Photos from Around New York. Appreciate you, Eyeglass Lady. This is Tom, do what you have to do. Have a good night. Brian says good night, Tom, and everybody. Western Mass Dave, thank you for joining. Brian, Chris Beeman, thank you for joining. Sabrina Fair, OF, this is good luck with it all. Thank you so much. Jonathan France, the one and only Layda, I appreciate you. Lori E, have a great rest of your week. Gloria Mills, appreciate it very, very much. JMTS Productions, always a pleasure to see you. Ruby Falcone, all of our moderators. Sunshine After Rain, Jonathan France, The Mighty Bull, Kevin, Bob, Brads, appreciate you. Abdul, Mohammed, thank you. Henry, who else we got here? Photos from Around New York, Shauno, Al Baker, Western Mass Dave, Judy D, Ruby Falcone, and everybody in the chat. Have a phenomenal day tomorrow. And to the mighty bull, have a good night wherever you are, because there is always a bull market somewhere. And you just need to know where to look. So I'll see everybody right back here tomorrow, Wednesday. Already the middle of the week. Have a great one. Make it a good one. Be successful. I'll see you right back here tomorrow.